Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Because without you guys, well, let's face it, I would still be here talking. And apparently, I messed you guys up. Sorry about that. I ended up by accident hitting the stream and got it going there for a few seconds. And I see you guys just decided to start having a chat and just kind of roll with it. And I appreciate you guys all being here. But one thing I want you guys to understand. Remember, I'm old, I'm technology challenged, and when I'm doing this, the whole Joe Boo Sports Report and everything, it's just me. And literally, I have two computers that I'm actually running at the same time. I'm trying to look at the camera here so that way I make eye contact with you, and I'm also trying to read the comments and stuff. So it's kind of a whole lot for this old brain to kind of work together, but I appreciate each and every one of you guys putting up with me and all of my mistakes. Excuse me. Especially when you guys do super chats. Sometimes I just miss stuff. And last week I missed. Hold on. Let me get this message from. Okay, so we're gonna have Law Nation joining us tonight, and he's gonna be sending me a link so that way he can Skype in perfectly and so on. And we'll be having him here in a little bit. Hopefully I don't fuck it up, but we'll see. But anyway, when you guys do super chats, I missed one last week, and the guy ended up, sending me a email and said, "Hey, what happened? You missed me," and I really apologize for missing that. I appreciate all the support that you guys have done for me in the show, and I don't want to miss anything. So forgive me when I mess up, but. This week has been the week from hell since the last time we talked. We ended up hold on. We got to do this right because it's one of those nights. Definitely, I need more than just a refill. I think I need a whole glass. So let me go ahead and get myself a little rum and coke here to start this show with and get Joe Boo a refill because this week has just been bad all the way around, and I can't wait for training camp to get here, just so we can kind of get rid of all of the off-the-field drama. And that's part of the reason why Law's coming on tonight, because he definitely wants to talk with me and you guys about it. I got to be honest, I am disappointed. No, I'm not just disappointed about the players, but I'm kind of disappointed about our organization as well. Here it is, one of your players, Darren McFadden, his family, 3 of them get shot. I haven't heard anything from the team saying, hey, we feel bad about the situation, hope everybody's okay. Then we have Damien Wilson get arrested for get arrested for aggravated assault. And we didn't even hear Jason Garrett say he's disappointed. Nothing. And then we have the Dak Prescott autograph gate. And that's the one that really kind of irks the hell out of me. Let's be honest. There's a lot of players out there doing stuff right now that's 100 times worse. That's if Dak even did this. When you start looking at Panini America and start hearing some of the things that they have been convicted for, where we're talking the FBI has been part of. When you know about the whole autographing system is screwed up. There's a lot of fake merchandise out there. How do we know that they didn't just go ahead and take a couple of the ones Dak's had and they auto-signed them? Is it possible? Because everybody is looking straight at Dak Prescott and pointing the fingers at him. Now, I got to be honest, another way that I sit here and think about it is, do I want my quarterback spending all his time autographing everything? I don't want that arm to get tired. I want that arm ready to play and win a Super Bowl. I'm not interested in him signing 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, tons and tons of autograph. I want to see him throwing the football. I mean, that's just me. Now, I will say that I do have a couple pieces that are autographed by Dak Prescott. And the amazing thing is, When you look at this autograph and you compare it to the ones that they said have been copied, Dak's autographs are pretty much dead on. And in fact, I've got another jersey over there that's autographed, and he signed them both, same autograph signing. And I got to be honest with you, I've never seen anybody's autographs that look so exactly alike. And even though these are two different fabrics, I mean, is it conceivable that Dak Prescott, who is been pretty much perfect off the field, a guy who's going for his doctorate degree in psychology, maybe he does have perfect penmanship and can completely reproduce it. Is that even a possibility? Because when I listen to the talking heads on ESPN and stuff, everybody's ready to condemn him and talk about how he's not a leader like Tony Romo. And I knew it wouldn't be too long before we start injecting Tony Romo in there as the clean-cut guy and everything else. And, because Dak Prescott just isn't that guy. And I don't know what it is about Dak Prescott that he gets condemned for things that, Eli Manning has done far worse and doesn't. I don't know why it is, but for some reason, maybe it's because he's a Cowboy. I don't know. Thank you, Justin. I did get my hair cut. It was getting kind of wild and looking like Joe Boo's, and so I figured I'd go ahead and get it squared away. But I did want to play this one clip for you guys. Hold on, that's probably Law Nation. Okay. Only problem with that. Oh, Google Hangouts. Okay. Excuse me for 1 second here while I try and get Law Nation up here. Again, like I was telling you guys, I am a one-man show. As I get Law Nation in here. Hopefully we'll have this together real quick. Okay, video call. Okay, hold on. We might just have this. Send an invite. Okay, so hopefully I just have the invite to Law Nation so that way he'll be in here. Apologize, guys. I'm the only one here working this thing, so forgive me. Oversaturated market. Let's see. The less autographs you see circling around, the more valuable are. True. Here's what I say. And I know it's not always that easy, but the great thing about our Cowboys are they go everywhere. There's autograph shows all across the country. We have 2 of them here in Chantilly, Virginia, outside D.C. In fact, I think there were 2 Redskins that were at it, but we had Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. I've seen Deion Sanders at one of them, okay? I've seen Tyron Smith. He's always there. I've seen Travis Frederick. I've seen Bill Bates, Bob Lilly, and on and on and on. I've seen Dak there. Tony Romo's been there, and so on. The thing I would say is go to one of these autograph signings. You're going to spend a boatload of money getting something in the mail, but you don't truly know for sure if that is legit and real. And for me, having a signature, that's nice and all that. I can point that, yeah, that's it. But I would rather meet the guy in person, take a picture with him, get to say hello, I'm a big fan of yours and things like that, and get an autograph that way. To me, that really means something. But, that's me. I've been blessed enough to have met a bunch of people. And shout out to Matt, who sent me 2 Dak Prescott rookie cards. I appreciate that. Now, guys, you don't have to send me stuff. I appreciate it. The only problem is I'm going to have to move out or build another room because I've got too much stuff. Because I even got in the mail right here from How About Them Cowboys for my cousin Derek. He got him an aquarium. That's an NFL aquarium. So I guess he's going to put some Colt stuff and stuff on there. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate it so much. Shout out to AJ, who ordered 3 shirts for his whole family. So the whole family is going to be spreading the mojo. So appreciate all the love and all the support from you guys. Now, interesting thing that happened with NFL Network and Law Nation. If you're watching, I sent you an invite a couple minutes ago. So hopefully you get that and we can connect here. NFL Network is rehashing the same old stuff. Reasons why the Dallas Cowboys won't make the Super Bowl. I, for one, am happy now because whenever they pick somebody to go to the Super Bowl, it never happens. They're always wrong. I want you to name one time the experts have said, this is going to be the team, and they've been the team. Other than New England, because that's the safest bet you could ever make to say that New England's going to be there because chances are they probably are. But other than that, they're saying our Dallas Cowboys don't have a chance at going to the Super Bowl. And here's that clip for you guys right now.
Don't mind, Sean. Why will they not be playing in Super Bowl 52?
Well, I'm going to pick up that answer lies in the last play of last season's game.
Okay.
And Dak Prescott went right down the field and took the lead. The lack of a pass rush is the reason why the Cowboys would not win a Super Bowl. And you just look at the talent alone. They thought they had a big pass rusher in Randy Gregory. Well, now he can't stay on the field. Now he's suspended. So now they don't even know what they have in him. They've had a couple injuries along with some other defensive ends. And it showed up. It showed up in the biggest game of the season last year. They couldn't get pressure on Aaron Rodgers when they needed it. And that's when what you have to have if you want to win that big game playoff.
What do you say, Bo?
Jerry Jones doesn't need a war daddy. We'll see what Taco Charlton could be that guy. I think the back end of this defense, the defense was gutted in certain areas, but when you lose J.J. Wilcox and Barry Church, they're two safeties, and you lose Brandon Carr and Mo Claiborne, you got to replace those. Now, they're replacing them with Nolan Carroll, free agent, coming from Philadelphia, and they have a lot of young players.
Yeah.
Tito Wutzia, Xavier Woods at a La Tech. They've got some young guys, but how quickly can they kind of learn this scheme right?
Okay, so I hope that didn't freeze up too much for you guys. I'm still kicking out the bugs, and I know I got to upgrade my system and get a much, much more powerful computer. But that's one of those things that we got to take care of later. You guys know I got a day job. I don't make a whole bunch of money from doing this, but everything I do make goes back into it. So let's get to some of your questions while hopefully we get Law Nation in here. Okay, that's another message from him. Sorry, guys. Okay, we're still working on it. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties there. Let's see if he can hold one more second. And Billy Sarducci, how you doing, buddy? Thank you.
Hell of a job, and the only thing I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
And Billy's question is there a website I can go to figure out where I can catch a Cowboys autograph session? I live in Ohio. Trying to remember. Just Google autograph shows because they end up. I'm trying to remember the name of the one that because they literally go all over the place. Because I know they're in Atlanta, they're in New York, they're in D.C., of course they're in Dallas, but they go all across the country. God, what is the name of them? I will post that in a video for you, Billy, coming up. I just can't remember the name of the one that comes around, but they literally are everywhere. The other thing to do, too, is there's a lot of different Dallas Cowboy fan clubs. Like I'm part of DMV in D.C., which goes to different games and stuff. They're going to go to the Atlanta game and probably at least one game in Dallas. But what we've actually been able to do is we've actually had autograph signings with some of the Cowboy players. We've had Lucky Whitehead come through. We've had Chaz Green. We've had Tyron Smith. We had Lyle Collins. We had DeMarcus Lawrence. So if you have a Dallas Cowboy fan group that's close to you, it's worthwhile to go ahead and check them out and to join up because then you can hopefully do some stuff with them as well. And trying to get Law Nation. I apologize, guys. I'm kind of Lawson here. Let's see if we can get him here on Skype. Hello. There we go. We finally have Law Nation in the house, buddy. How are we doing?
Doing great, man. Doing fine, like wine.
Okay, guys. I apologize that it's been a while trying to get this together. We kind of did this kind of last minute here, and I kind of had to change up on computers. But we have Law Nation in the house with us, and if you guys don't know who Law Nation is, and I don't know who that one person would be, if you don't know who he is, check him out on YouTube because the brother definitely knows everything about football. How you doing tonight, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Everything's wonderful on my end.
I
Just a little upset about the
was
Cowboys.
gonna say I don't know about wonderful because you may want to pour yourself a drink. As far as I feel right now about our Dallas Cowboys, I'm pissed off, kind of. Not so much about the players only, but I'm also kind of pissed off about our Cowboys management and things because where have they been all week? Are they on vacation or something?
Man, management. I don't know, man. I mentioned something on your website. I mean, not on your website, but on your box. Is that Rich Dalrymple, whatever his name is, need to reach out to the masses and tell them what's going on.
You know, I've done a couple of videos and stuff. I'm a nobody, and there's no reason for any professional athlete to listen to me. But I'm old enough to have seen a lot of different things, man, and understand what these guys maybe don't know that's coming down the tracks. Because, as the old saying goes, a fool and his money are soon departed. And being able to be in the NFL and playing on that field, that career is a lot shorter than they think. That money will go, and they only have to slip up one time, and they're gone. And I see some of these guys that are just making stupid mistakes. We are 2 weeks away from training camp, and what the hell is going on?
It's crazy. The Damien Wilson kid, he's from Mississippi. He's from Mississippi, and I'm from Mississippi too as well. He went to a school not far from my hometown, Alcorn, and he should know better than to pull out a gun or pull out a weapon. It's just horrible, for somebody to do something like that. That is crazy.
Yeah, Ricky Bear, thank you very much, man, for adding to the Jobu collection here. I appreciate all the love. But when you guys live chat, ask a question so that way we'll be sure to answer it. Well, the thing that they got to understand, to me at least, is you're under a microscope. If I am Joe Blow, I look at you and I see you got money. If I can provoke you, if I can get you to hit me, I'm going to get paid. If I can catch you doing something that's not savory and get it on video, I'm going to get paid. So people are looking at these guys as a payday. So I'm sure when he's backing up and all that, they're like, oh, hell no, you ain't parking here. He's a Dallas Cowboy or whatever. You got to be smart enough to just kind of say, you know what? I need to get out of the situation. At least in my mind, you got to just kind of say, you know what? It's not worth it. Because this guy, to me, I think he should be cut. What do you think about that, Law?
Yes, indeed. I think, playing strong side linebacker, I charted his games. He's only played 20 to 25% of the time out there on the field. A lot of times we're going with a lot of nickel, so we only using 2 linebackers out there in the first place. Now, as far as depth-wise, I thought that he was going to be a central spot on the team because he can fill in the gaps. He can actually play Mike too as well. But outside of that, looking at the thing collectively, I just think that they just need to go ahead and cut bait, maybe to set an example and set the tempo and set the atmosphere for the team. Just go ahead and get rid of the kid because he makes foolish mistakes like that. One strike and you're out with something like that.
The problem I have is it seems like every offseason we have the same old stuff that's just over and over. I mean, technically, Randy Gregory's still part of the team. We saw what went through with Greg Hardy, where he's gone after a coach and arguing with Des Bryant and everything else, and basically just put up his middle finger to the team, and you ain't going to do anything. And it's just like the same stuff we keep repeating over and over and over again, and yet there's nothing there that stops them. And you got to at some point say, enough is enough. If you're going to screw up like this, you're out of here. And send a message to the team that that's what's important.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much on that. And no, Joe Boo does not have a girlfriend because Joe Boo belongs to the world. He is a player, without a doubt. Joe Boo is a player. But thank you very much for that donation to the Joe Boo's Mobile Man Cave. What else concerns you about the team right now going into training camp?
Well, the focus. It concerns me a little bit with the focus, but I do know that once everybody's out there with the heat and pads, putting pads on, I think that everybody's going to gel well. I'm very surprising of the offense. It looks like everybody is intact with the offense. For the last 2 or 3 years, nobody has been suspended, dare I say, on the offense. But it's just this defense need to get things collectively together. They need to get things going in the right direction.
Well, like I said, I'm holding my breath for the next 2 weeks and praying that nothing bad happens between now and then. I thought we were over the hump, and then this past week has just been a nightmare. The whole autograph signing thing, we were talking about it before you came on. To me, it's crazy how everybody is automatically pointing the finger at Dak Prescott, and I haven't heard anybody really talking about Panini America, a company that a guy pleaded guilty to the FBI about buying and selling supposedly used game used jerseys and so on. Company that's been known for fraud and everything else, but immediately everybody is pointing the finger saying Dak is forging this stuff and everything else. I, for one, am not that crazy about knowing my starting quarterback is staying up all night signing autographs. Right now, I want to focus on football. But I don't think it's as big a deal as the talking heads are making it out to be, and how everybody is basically saying that he's a thug and a bad guy now.
It's the off season. Everybody trying to create news, create drama. They do know that the Dallas Cowboys create ticket sales, clicks, and things of that nature. So it's nothing surprised me altogether. It's just that it's just crazy how the ESPNs of the world and the NFL Network likes to sully and castrate aspersions on the Cowboys. At the same time, we are the ones that's feeding everybody out there in the nation. So it's just what it is. I hate this time of the season because every year they either brings up the Ezekiel Elliott situation, or they bring up old stuff, or they bring up old people like the TOs of the world. They try to find somebody who's affiliated with the Cowboys, and they put them out there in the masses. So it's crazy.
Look, I was sitting here today, and I saw my son said, "Oh, the Dallas Cowboy offensive lineman was busted for weed," and it was a former Dallas Cowboy offensive lineman, and I was kind of like, "Who?" I'm like, "Did this guy even see the field?" But immediately, right. Dallas Cowboy player arrested for weed. And you're like, I've never heard of him. You know, I guarantee you there's other former players out there that are getting busted for stuff that we're not hearing anything about. But let's think about Eli Manning. Eli Manning, there's emails saying that he knew he was giving guys equipment that was supposedly game used, and he said it wasn't game used, and it was being sold as that. Yet, have you heard the firestorm against Eli like we have against Dak Prescott about supposedly using an auto machine, something that has been going on since Thomas Jefferson?
Yeah, Eli Manning got a pass. You know, he's not going to get in trouble for anything. We all know that he's 2-time Super Bowl champion. He knocked out Tom Brady for those instances there. So I'm really thinking that, you know, the NFL is going to kind of give this guy, you know, an extra pass. But as far as Dak Prescott, they already counting him out as being an NFL starting quarterback. They got all these things talking about everybody got tape out on him and he's going to suck this year and all that. So it's just one of those things that I just want Dak Prescott to stay focused.
Well, see, to me, I believe that puts just a bigger chip on his shoulder because everybody forever has doubted him. I mean, high school, college, pros. Nobody's ever thought he was going to amount to anything. But I dare say that psychology degree that he has and that master's and working towards that doctorate, that psychology is probably going to work pretty well for him as far as being on the football field, because I guarantee he's going to be getting some defensive players' heads this year.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of a poem. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, that's what I hope that Dak Prescott can develop in his mindset. to just trust himself and then, just make things happen out there on the field. And I think that's what's going to happen this year.
Well, the only thing I worry about is we keep losing defensive starters. I mean, Nolan Carroll is going to be suspended for a couple games. So we know that we're going to have David Irvin gone. And now, who knows with Damien Wilson, what's going to happen with him. So now we're talking about 3 guys that may have been penciled in as starters that aren't going to be there for the beginning of the season. So that definitely is going to hurt.
Yeah, but in the midst of those type of pitfalls, now you got the Lucas Waka. I'm really high on him. And then you have the John Luatule. I think that's how you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's flying out to the ball. I think he's going to be an exciting venture for us to watch. And what the biggest thing I'm waiting for, Mark, is July the 10th. The case on Jordan Lewis. We're going to see whether or not he's going to be found guilty or innocent. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, and of course we still have Zeke Elliott's whole thing that's still out there. Ricky Beard, thank you very much for the super chat. Do the start players? I wish I could tell you on that one if you'll see players during the public tours. Now they do have the new fitness center stuff there where guys are going to be rehabbing and things like that. And with that new fitness center, you have the pool that overlooks the practice field. So if you're hanging out the Star, I guarantee you're going to see some players, even if you're sitting in the parking lot as they're coming in and going out. So I would definitely try and go through and do the tour. I tried to do the tour when I was coming back from Super Bowl, but unfortunately it's actually a 2.5-hour tour, and I didn't have enough time to go before my flight. So when I get back to Dallas, you can best believe I'm going to do that tour, and I will fill you in completely on that. I'm just so ready for the season to get underway. The offseason seems like it's gone by pretty quick for the most part, but I am still ready for some real football. We've had so much to talk about between Tony Romo, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, and everything else that it's been great. But I want to see some pads and I want to see some people hitting.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Frankie G. He said the case has been moved back to the 24th. And this is going to keep me even more worried.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh.
Well, again, that's where I keep looking at Zeke Elliott, and you had Adam Schefter coming out saying that, it's still possible he could be suspended. I don't know what the NFL is doing, why they're dragging their feet on it so long and everything else. When you looked at some of these other cases that they've gone through and boom, done in a month or two. But I have no idea what they're doing with Zeke. He's turned over his phone records. They've gone through the courts. I mean, what else can they find or what else is holding them up, I'm wondering.
At this point, it's a farce. I just think that they're trying to drag it out so they can get as much ratings as they can. It's the dry season. This kid should just be automatically free. If you look back at the, what's that guy? Revis Island. He had some type of situation.
They were done with that in a month. Literally a month. He was in a fight with some people. They claimed that he kicked their ass, but or they beat him up or whatever. But that thing was solved in a month. And here you go for Sergeant Pete, real quick. Thank you very much. What's happened to Daryl Washington? Well, Daryl Washington definitely wants to be a Dallas Cowboy, but the Cowboys haven't said much as far as he goes. I think the Cowboys are waiting to see who's going to be there in free agency and when players start getting cut at camp and stuff like that. And I still think they're going to be making a move on somebody. I just don't know whom just yet. But we'll have to wait and see. With what we've got going on, to me, with Nolan Carroll and David Irvin stuff, I see the Cowboys in that chunk of change that they have looking to maybe make another impact person on the team. We may end up being a little thin on linebacker if Jalen Smith isn't really ready, and you end up getting rid of Damien Wilson. That maybe they start looking at some of the guys that are out there. At least that's my thoughts. It's not the Cowboys haven't had this kind of money in a long time, and I know Jerry Jones has got to be itching to do something with some of it.
Well, as long as Steven is there, they're going to hold all reservations on signing players soon. And then let me expound on that for the Darryl Washington questions, and for any veteran player that we kind of like leaning on. There's a clause in the CBA that when you sign a veteran player, his salary, during this time, during the off-season training camp and preseason, when you sign that veteran player, their contract is automatically approved through the entire year. You can't sign them and say, okay, well, this guy's sucking, you can cut him. Now, with this type of scenario, when you sign a veteran player, their contract is, or whatever you sign them for, is guaranteed through a whole entire season. So, but if you wait till week one, I think it's after week 1 to sign a player, then you can cut them at any time, and you don't have to have their contract guaranteed for the whole entire year. So that's something that the Cowboys are taking a look at. They don't want to sign an older or a veteran player for him to get out there and twist his knee, and they have to end up paying him for the whole entire year. So that's why they kind of slow on signing people.
Yeah, they want to make sure. Definitely want to make sure what they're getting. So Jackie says actually the tour of the star is really, really nice. And so, now, and I do know this much because I wanted to. I was like, can I just take some pictures? I'm, Cowboy Joe Boo, and I'm trying to share some stuff to my fans. The thing they said you're not allowed to take any pictures inside, but they did at least let me go in and take pictures of the trophies and the rings and stuff. So Jackie Smith, thank you for letting us know. She said the tour is all that and a ham sandwich. So definitely check it out when you guys are around. And you're definitely going to see some players. I can guarantee you that Jerry Jones is going to want to make that thing huge for the fan experience, as well as to kind of stuff it in the nose of all the other teams that I got something that you guys don't.
Yeah.
What about Justin Durant? Is he in trouble? Wait a minute. I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. How about the Cowboys?
Yeah, Justin Durant was not re-signed. Now, if they pick him up now, he will fall under the category as a veteran player.
Yeah.
He gets out there during training camp and twists his knee up or snap up his ankle. We would have to be responsible for his salary for the whole entire year. So look for them to just probably lean over to him and say, hey, man, we're going to pick you up. We're just waiting for the first of the week to start. And then, just learn the playbook, stay in shape, and we'll take a look at you then.
Well, we got Travis Diggs was saying, what about putting Hitchens on the right, Smith, of course, in the middle, and Sean Lee on the left. I love Sean Lee being on the weak side because Sean Lee, when he played middle linebacker, was good, but he just could not take on those hits and things and just kept getting injured. Not to be anything racial or anything, but I got to tell you, Sean Lee is one of the fastest white guys I've ever seen in my life. And from him being on that weak side, being able to chase people down and not having to take on that guard coming up and smacking him, he is fantastic as far as speed-wise from that backside. Rolando McClain was a guy I used to love at middle linebacker, but he just couldn't get his head right because he's the type of guy that you want in there. He can thud. I mean, he can really lay the wood, and that's what you really want to have there in the middle. And I'm not sure that Jalen Smith, his foot is going to be ready to really lay the wood and stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how he is, but I don't think that he's going to be ready to start game one. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but I still think it's still going to be some time before he really gets fully up to speed to be an every down player.
Mark, man, you 1,000% right on that. That Roe McClain, he was a prototypical middle linebacker. He had the perfect sight.
Man,
height,
he was like a throwback. When he had his head together and he wanted to play, he was unstoppable. I mean, I look back at some of the great linebackers back in the 70s and things like that. And he reminded me of that when he wanted to play. And had we gotten him, his head right and everything else, he could have been a beast. And that's the kind of guy you really want to have there in the middle.
Then again, I go back to the initial statement. If we'd never had an off season, and it was just like consecutive seasons, Rolando McClain would still be on the team. It's just the off season. We just go crazy.
Yeah, and that's where I wonder if the Cowboys need to have some kind of a mentoring program or some kind of backup to kind of deal with these guys. To me, there's no excuse for an NFL player to ever get a drunk drive. The NFL, okay, basically, there's a phone number that every player is given. You call this number, you get a ride, no questions asked. Flat out. There is no reason for any one of them to ever drive drunk. So when you hear about stupid stuff like that, to me, it's just like, you're a freaking idiot. When you hear about the whole parking incident that just happened with him, sorry, you're a freaking idiot. I talked about, I played college football. I was a walk-on at JMU. My only claim to fame was I played at JMU with Charles Haley, and seeing what that guy was and to see him in the Hall of Fame. I would literally give my left leg to be able to walk out of that tunnel on a Sunday with 90,000 fans cheering for me. The privilege, and I know it's a lot of hard work to get there, But the privilege of being in that position, to have that many people love you, there's no way in the world I would let anything take that away from me. I'm just mystified that some of these things these idiots do.
It's crazy. When you got these 20 and 21 and 22-year-olds with all this money, we know how it goes.
I guess, but Randy Gregory, look at how many millions of dollars that dude threw away for weed. I mean, that was some good weed. I got to tell you, that's some really good weed, because my man threw away basically about $20 million for weed. Come on, man.
I think Jerry got something up his sleeve. I think that they're going to pass something where it's going to allow these players to smoke that Buddha.
Yeah, well, we know it's going to come eventually, and that's probably the reason why they haven't cut him yet. But, because maybe, he did show some flashes that those 2 games he played in. Maybe that is coming sometime in the near future. Who knows? But right now, it's looking like a wasted pick. But we'll see what happens with this year. So, who do you think is going to be our breakout player this year? One on offense and one on defense.
Oh, man, I got my hand in the basket for Ryan. I think that he's going to be that explosive guy on the offensive side. And then as far as the defensive side, I got Awuzie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dimitri Moore, is actually going to surprise a lot of people.
You're talking about rookies.
No, just in general, the players this year that it can be rookies or not. But I think Dimitri Moore is going to surprise a lot of people, and I think he's going to be like that George Selby on steroids. Not literally on steroids, but George Selby was kind of a journeyman guy. He was at Jacksonville, he was at Tampa, he was at Atlanta. Basically 4 years, had 3 sacks. Worked with Rod Marnelli, and all of a sudden, boom, we got up to that 7-sack level. And I see him so far in the OTAs, and you don't really learn that much from minicamp and OTAs because they're not really with the pads on. But from what I've seen film-wise, he's moving really, really well, and he's fitting that system really, really well. And I think that he might be the guy that surprises everybody this year on the defensive line.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget about my guy, Malik Collins. He's going to demand opportunity this year.
Collins is another guy who quietly had a fantastic season, as a rookie, and he definitely gets that push in the middle. You don't get a lot of sacks in the middle. It's usually the defensive end. So for him to get as many as he did really well. And Quentin Lewis, I think Stephen Hyatt is going to do really well as well. He played fantastic when he was in Chicago under Rod Marnelli. He went to that dumpster fire that is the Washington Redskins and kind of got lost in the mix where it seems like defensive linemen go to end their career, and then ended up going to Siberia, which I call Cleveland. So you can't really judge Washington and Cleveland on that resume, and I'm hoping that he resurrects his career because he definitely fits our system.
Oh, he does. And shout out to Shallow Howe, Xavier Woods, and D. Swisser for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think that Xavier Woods, just look for him not to have an explosive game 1, but look for him to have explosive like week 4 and 5. But he get really his legs working under him.
I think Xavier Woods is a guy you got to get on the field because he's not big, but he's a guy that hits and he's a guy that makes plays. And you can never have guys that make plays too much on the field. I played a clip earlier from NFL Network. I know you've seen it. Reasons why the Dallas Cowboys won't go to the Super Bowl. The thing that drives me crazy is when they keep talking about the losses we had on defense. They keep saying that, the Cowboys are going to regret letting go, Brandon Carr and the veteran Morris Claiborne. I'm sorry. Is there another Morris Claiborne that I don't know about? Because the one that we had was always broke down.
He played. Yeah, that's the problem with the national media. They fail to realize that we was ranked 26th overall in defensive back category play. Now, of course, our defensive back played very decent, but you can't get worse than that with these new guys. I think they're explosive and they fly out to the ball, so it can be a whole lot better this year.
Now, one thing you do have to look at, though, too, is statistics are statistics, and you can kind of prove a whole lot of different things with statistics. Part of the reason I think that they were ranked that low was when you look at teams having to try and keep up with the Dallas Cowboys, they were going to throw more than they ran. So I don't necessarily say that we were really the number one run-stopping defense, We were partially because teams weren't running on us quite as much as they were on other teams, and they were throwing more against us. At least that's in my mind. I think that those two are really numbers are really closer together than 26-1. But teams are going to go by what's dictated to them. If you're behind, you're passing more than the other team. But I got to tell you, Morris Claiborne, I am glad to see him gone. I actually wanted to see him gone the year before. To me, it's like we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's kind of one of those things that, we spent 2 picks on him, and we're going to make sure that we get our money's worth out of it. But at some point, you just got to say, we're done. Let it go. You're not dependable. And the same thing with Brandon Carr. Brandon Carr, great guy off the field. Met him and everything else. Talked to him. He's done all kinds of charity work and stuff. But he's not a guy who wowed you. He's not a guy who would get turnovers. And he just was not that big playmaker. The guys we drafted, we're looking at guys that are going to be playmakers, I believe. And we truly need some playmakers to really kind of make that final step.
We do, yes, indeed. We need somebody that can get out there and get to the ball. Watch out for Jeff Heath.
Yeah, Jeff Heath. Yeah, Jeff Heath could end up being kind of like a Charlie Waters type, or a guy who you didn't really think was going to be that great, but he's had some flashes there. I'm not sure that he's an every down player, but we'll have to see how that goes. Now, I was sitting here thinking today, and I started looking at our team. Provided we still have our team, okay? We keep losing players left and right from suspensions, things like that. But when I honestly look at our team, between the offense that's coming back and the firepower that's there, that offensive line, Zeke Elliott, Des Bryant being healthy, in the offseason for once and acting like a young kid, Dak Prescott taking care of the ball, and our defense that's up and coming. When I look at all these parts that we have, to me, the expectation should be a Super Bowl. And if they're not in a Super Bowl, I think the only place they have to look is themselves. I honestly think the team is loaded in so many places, more so than anybody else, that the only thing that should stop this team would be themselves. I don't know what you think on that one, but to me, I'm tired of waiting, and I don't see too many teams that are in the position that they're in right now.
I mean, they are in a sweet spot. And I was listening to that clip that you played earlier saying that they don't have any pass rushers. I think that they do now. Demontre Moore, like you mentioned earlier, I think he's going to be able to get to the quarterback. I think also when David Irving get off the PED situation, I think he's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to be stronger for this year. And then I'm not going to sleep on Taco. I think Taco is going to do his deal. I think they should kick him to the inside and just have him on the same side as Irving or the same side as Demontre Moore and have him into that rotational piece. So I really think that the only weakest link that we had last year was on that line, and everybody needs to watch out for this year. This guy is going to be able to be a dominant force out there. And this team is going to take it all the way out, this year.
Well, play general manager for one moment here. You're Jerry Jones. You're looking at this team right now. Is there any move that you would make at this point to say, I just need to get over the hump? If I do this one thing, we can definitely get there.
They did it with Deion Sanders, right? And they did it also with Charles Haley. So who is out there right now who's equivalent or kind of quote unquote in the same category as a Deion Sanders or a Charles Haley? That would be my focus point. It may be the Richard Sherman. I'm not saying that he's locked down, he's going to shut down, but he's going to gel well with the type of defense that we play. And
I would take him in a
They
minute.
already closed the window on that, but maybe somebody out there, we'd have to make that one more move.
You know what? I don't know that window's closed yet because I still think that there's a lot of bad blood in that locker room. And you can't tell me that they had him on the trading block and he asked to be on the trading block and that now it's all kumbaya and everything's hunky-dory. I think that there's some bad blood between Russell Wilson as well as Richard Sherman from that Super Bowl loss. Now, I could be wrong, but I still think that something's going to happen before too long with that. Again, that's just a gut feeling. I just feel like it's just too strong a personality there with Richard Sherman.
Yeah, it's just too strong, right? So maybe he's out there. Maybe we can get him. I see somebody. I think Mr. Wright. He put down that Greg Hardy. Laugh out loud.
Yeah,
The thing
yeah,
is, the thing is with Greg Hardy. And I'm just say this: if Greg Hardy was on this team last year
yeah.
versus the 2015 team, then maybe it'll be painted with a different brush, because then they're winning, So
Not too many people can cover Rico Gathers one-on-one. Well, we'll find out on that one. Hopefully, we'll see how he does in training camp and so on. I'm hoping. For some reason, it seems like we have the curse of Jason Witten. Since we've gotten Jason Witten, there's not been another tight end on this team that has been able to stick. Other than Marty B, played well at times, but really had to leave before he became a big player. I'm hoping that Rico Gathers would be a good one, because when you look at his jumping ability, his size, and everything else, if that guy can turn around and become something, man, then that would really truly be fantastic. Jeff Heath has done nothing but make plays when he's in there, and people still disrespect him. Well, you're right about that, Sean. He has made some fantastic plays, but we'll see. It's one thing to be in there spot duty. It's another thing to get exposed when you're out there all the time. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping that he's the real deal, and we'll probably find out definitely during the preseason. And yeah,
yes, indeed.
and definitely right now, Collins is going to be the right tackle. He's not going to be the guard. I'm sorry, the left tackle. He's not left tackle. Right guard. God, now you guys got me tripping. He's definitely going to be playing tackle. His natural position from college, and he is going to be a beast. And a lot of people keep talking about, oh, the Cowboys lost Doug Free. But I got to be honest with you, when you start looking at some of the plays that Doug Free missed, Tony Romo getting knocked out, some of the strips fumbles that Dak Prescott had, those were Doug Free's guys. And Doug Free had gotten old, he had gotten slower, and he wasn't able to take that speed rusher anymore. And he truly was the weakest link on that offensive line. La'el Collins has trimmed up, and it wasn't that he couldn't move before, because you saw him down 30 yards downfield running with Darren McFadden, doing 2 knockout blocks in one play. I think that's going to be a hell of an improvement for right tackle. And now his question will just be who will be the starting guard, and they're definitely got their mind zeroed in on who that's going to be. So I think our offensive line will be fine. I don't have a problem with anything on our offense right now, as long as everybody stays healthy.
Well, certainly. I think Lyle Collins, he's going to be that force that we need on the right side. Now, I only have a slight reservation on his pass pro protection, but outside of that, he's a mauler. He got quick hips, got good foot placement, can get out to the edge. So he's one of those guys that I'm not worried at all as it relates to like a full 60 snap game, versus what we had with Doug Free. So time will tell, and everybody will say, hey, man, Cowboys got the top best offensive lineman. So far, quote unquote, the Philadelphia Eagles have the best offensive line in the world. So shout out to what is it, Holy Way 15. You better not have one excuse for Carson Wentz this year. I better not hear it. I don't want to hear it at all. You guys better have 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and 1,700 yards rushing.
Okay. Shout out for Josh here, who's got his question about Kevin Fraser or Tapper. Will either of those guys end up making some waves this season? Thank you very much for the super chat there, buddy. Your thoughts on Tapper and Fraser?
Oh man, Tapper, if healthy, he's going to be able to get to the quarterback too as well. He got a very powerful spin move. He's one of those guys that's more quick than fast. So he's one of those guys that I'm kind of like, okay, show me what you can do. That's what I'm really waiting for this preseason and in this training camp to see. Now I just want him to stay healthy.
Well, yeah, that's the key on a lot of these guys. I think we actually have a good mix of young guys and things that are going to be hungry, and I think that our defensive line is going to do better than people expect them to. And if they do, man, lights out for the season, because that's going to help the linebackers. It's definitely going to help those young cornerbacks. If we can get a good pass rush, I think we can go all the way. That's my my thoughts because I look back at the last couple of years where we just have not been able to finish games. Aaron Rodgers, fourth quarter, we just can't touch the guy, and he ends up driving them right down the field, winning games on us. If we can just get that pass rush, I think we'll finally get over the hump.
Yes, indeed, we are. And let me answer. How about them Cowboys question? He said Mark Holmes and Law Nation, who is Superman and Batman between Dak and Zeke. Let me just say this right quick: the Superman got to be Dak Prescott. And let me tell you this: all through preseason last year, Zeke was not on the field. Game 1 and game 2, Zeke was actually, by quote unquote, by most Cowboys fans, they wanted to bench him. So.
Oh yeah,
they didn't want to bench Dak Prescott, you know what I'm saying? So
they actually, you might even remember that they were comparing him to Trent Richardson the first 2 weeks, saying that he was going to be a bust. I remember Stephen A. Smith saying he kind of reminds me of Trent Richardson. I'm not saying that he's going to be a bust, but so far the jury is out. So yeah, people don't remember that. And the other thing that people don't remember too is Zeke, after he heated up a lot, but then towards the third quarter of the season, his numbers, he started dropping down under 100 yards a game and stuff, and it ended up being Dak kind of picking up more and more of the slack as the season went on. So it wasn't completely predicated on the run as much as everybody thinks that it was. And when everybody keeps saying that Dak Prescott just had to show up because he had everything else around him, what happened with Brandon Wheaton and what happened with Matt Castle?
Right. Everybody forget 2015.
Even though Darren McFadden didn't start till week 4? He was 4th in the NFL in rushing. Same offensive line, same wide receivers, yet those guys couldn't bust a grade. And you went 4-12, 3 games you had Tony Romo. Dak 13-3. Now you tell me, of course, Dak Prescott, he was lucky, he just had to show up. And that's another one of those things that just kill me with all these talking heads that keep saying that, the book's out on him. Man, I'm telling you, there's a sequel that's out. And he's going to show you guys.
Yeah, and then everybody in this planet Earth who's a Philadelphia Eagles fan saying that
Holy Ways 15.
Carson Wentz didn't play with his right tackle, and he lost 10 games without his right tackle. Well, Dak Prescott didn't play with Dez Bryant. Dak Prescott didn't play with my guy Tyron Smith, who is the best left tackle, who is more important than the right tackle in the actual NFL for 2 games. Or you might as well throw in 3 games because he was limping the 3rd game.
Right, yeah.
So
he was beat up a lot last year.
So without Dez Bryant, without Tyron Smith, and without actually quote unquote Zeke the Freak playing the way he's supposed to play, so miss me with that.
And I guess it was that offensive line that ended up taking care of coming back against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, a place that Ben Roethlisberger never loses to rookies, and that was definitely everybody but Dak. It was definitely everybody but Dak when we came back and should have won the game against Green Bay. When we were down 21-3. It's everybody but Dak. At some point, sometime, I'm hoping that he will end up getting the credit that he deserves. But right now, people seem to be more happy to go ahead and try and bury him about some autographs.
Right. They're just trying to throw anything to see if it'll stick. I think that Dak Prescott is going to make a statement sometime in the near future, and it's just going to be blown in the wind,
Now, who do you think is going to end up being our third running back? I think Alfred Morris is kind of the forgotten man who they had talked about trying to trade. I think maybe they're trying to hold on to him long enough to see if somebody needs a running back and see if they can get something more than a ham sandwich for him. But do you think that he still has a chance to even make it on the team? And if not, who do you think that third back will be?
I mean, Alfred Moore's got a very slim chance because he's not going to give you any production on special teams, and he's not that well in catching the ball out in the backfield, and he's just a liability when it comes to blocking. So I have Zeke the Freak, and I have also, of course, Darren McFadden if healthy, and then I have the Rod and Keith Smith both out there. Now, granted, Jay Hod Thomas can get injury free and get out there and play, and so we can see some production with him. Hopefully, he can make the team, but if not, it's going to be those 4, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now, Do you think anything will come of the investigation on Zeke?
No, I think it's a farce.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, because potentially, if the NFL were to do something on that, whoa, that's going to would change everything for the Dallas Cowboys. And
But hold on, but before you go further with that, if they suspend Ezekiel Elliott, then he needs to go take it through Congress and all this stuff. Because Tyreek Hill should be suspended too as well.
That's
Because
true
he actually
too.
punched his then fiance or his baby mama, what have you, while she was pregnant. So you
That's
can't
true.
just pick and choose who you're going to punish.
Good point on that one. I didn't think about them, but yeah, you're definitely right on that one. But I had another point. Now I forgot what it was here about the running back situation. The NFL Network and stuff. I love how they're trying to compare running backs, and they're trying to basically say that Zeke is really about the third or fourth best running back in the NFL. And I'm trying to understand their whole rationale on that one, because they say that because he's got such a great offensive line, again, he just has to show up. Your thoughts on that one?
It's also crazy. It's a clickbait situation because they're saying the same thing with Dak Prescott. They comparing him to Derek Carr. And Derek Carr this is his third year. Dak Prescott last year was his first. So if you compare the numbers to what it was with 1A, his being his first year, Dak Prescott versus Carr being his first year, then you have two separate situations going on. So I think that Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back right now in the NFL until somebody else crowned the rushing title. Then it's just foolishness for anybody else to say, well, Le'Veon Bell is or the Johnson kid is,
Well, it'll be interesting to see if he can win it back to back, because it's been a long time since running back has won rushing titles back to back. Now, I'm going to ask you one last question here. Which talking head gets under your skin the most?
No, say it again.
Which one of the talking heads gets under your skin the most? The Cowboy hater that works on ESPN or Fox or any of the shows.
Oh man, I'll say Colin Cowherd, man. He's methodically he sets up his debates and he sets up his points of argument so off basis. He's saying that the reason why Damien Wilson brandished his gun and fought the person for the parking lot is because Tony Romo is no longer on the team, and he got 9 million. He gets 9 million views, subscriber clicks on his podcast.
Yeah.
And now that sends out a whole bunch of nonsense news or Fox fake news, however they want to call it, out there to the masses, and it all hits my inbox saying that, well, Colin Cowherd, because we all know that you met Stephen A, so you know it's a game with Stephen A. But that Colin guy, man, he's low key. Colin is very smart, but he's just
For me, I tell you what, you got a good point there with him. But for me, it's Eric Davis, because I'm sorry, he's just plain stupid. It's not even like he can make an argument that's rational. When they were talking about Dak Prescott being ranked 14th in the top 100, his argument was, well, I'd say he's about the 14th best quarterback. And I'm like, what? And it's the same thing he pulled during the season when he was saying Dak Prescott is leaving so much on the field. It's like he just made a 20-yard completion for a first down. But there was another guy over there that was open that he could have hit. It's like, but he made a 20-yard completion for a first down. Just some of the guys out there, it makes me realize, it's like, why are we working on some of these stations? Because I got to be honest, I mean, I know I'm a homer for myself, but I listen to some of these guys and I'm like, really? They're paying you to talk about football? You're a freaking idiot.
Hey, did you hear what they were talking about? I think Eric Davis was on that panel. Somebody else. They said Michael Irvin's not even the top 5. They wanted to put him in the top 10. They said they had Michael Irvin all the way down to top 25 or 26. I said they had. Remember Lofton here? They had Lofton in front of Michael Irvin's.
Oh God, you got to be kidding me, James. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
See, again, it's not even rational. Okay, I mean, I'll be the first one to admit, I know I'm a Dallas Cowboy homer, but I try to at least be rational. And if it's not right, I mean, you know how much I pounded on Jason Garrett. I have been against Jason Garrett forever, and I will still be until we win one. I still will say, you know what, we got lucky that we won one, because I still am not sold on Jason Garrett. But hey, it is what it is. But it is 10 o'clock, and this hour always seems like it goes by faster and faster every week. I want to thank all you guys for showing up tonight and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I want to thank everybody for the super chats, because all this stuff is going right back into the show, because I'm trying to make sure that me, as well as Law Nation, are the best Dallas Cowboy YouTube channels out there. And I want to thank you guys for being here. I hope to see you guys on Monday night. Hope to have Law Nation back in here, because the brother, he's got skills. And if you haven't subscribed to his channel yet, you better go right now and subscribe to it, because he knows what he's talking about, and he does great film breakdown. So as always, friends, I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Joe Boo, and have a safe and happy weekend. And I'll see you soon.